A very warm welcome to you. It's a pleasure to have you join us on this edition of the program. As you know, this is where you get all the information about topical issues in the insurance industry. I am Jennifer Obidi-Ebube. On this edition, we join Faith and her guest on a town hall. Today, they'll be looking at the challenges of research and data in the Nigerian insurance industry. As always, it's a no-holds-barred. Do take a listen.
If there's no data, it's going to impact on the insurance industry because the premium that should have been collected, part of it will be lost because you are not doing adequate underwriting. And in the process of trying to cut rate, you are also telling the public that yes, you don't know what they're doing.
On this edition also, we will bring you highlights of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry 2016 Presidential Policy Dialogue Session, where the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, GCON, was the guest of honor and keynote speaker.
If we truly want this economy to grow, we know that as government, we have to provide the enabling environment.
And of course, our industry icons, where we celebrate past industry leaders. All these and more are what we have on the lineup this week. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Details after this commercial break. Please stay with us.
Your anchor as insurance, fire protect, insurance, safety on wheels, insurance, all round guarantor.
Insurance protects your business. Take advantage of cargo, hull, liability, freight, and other marine insurance policies for the maritime sector. Are you an owner of private or commercial vehicles? It is compulsory that you take the minimum insurance to protect other road users and their properties. Fire insurance policy is compulsory for all owners of schools, hospitals, hotels, malls, and other public buildings. The Insurance Act of 2003 mandates you to take fire insurance policies. Be on the right side of the law. Protect your businesses and assets. Visit any insurance broker or company today to get the right policy for you and your business. This message is from the Nigerian Insurers Association, NIA.
All right, a very warm welcome to you. It's a pleasure to have you join us again on the Insurance Industry Town Hall. As you know, on the Town Hall, we present the topic before the House. We gather an array of personalities to do justice to the topic. On this edition of the Town Hall, we'll be looking at the topic, Challenges of Research and Data in the Nigerian Insurance Industry. As always, my name is Faith Obodi. To do justice to the topic we've chosen today, we've gathered an array of eminent personalities. I'm going to start from my immediate right. I have Mr. Babatunde Thomas, who is the Managing Director, Legacy Insurance Brokers. Thank you so very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
To my immediate left, we call him Professor on radio, Mr. Obina Chilekezie, who is an insurance consultant, and is a 2016 African Insurance Organization Book Award winner. He's here to give me my cut of the dollars. Thank you so very much for joining us, Mr.
It's my pleasure.
And to my far left, I have Dr. Jide Fadun. He's the only, as of now, the only PhD holder in Risk Management, Insurance and Financial Services. Dr. Fadun is of the Department of Actuarial Science and Insurance, Faculty of Business Administration, University of Lagos, the premier university, which is my school. Thank you so very much, Doctor, for joining us on the program. Once again, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this town hall. Now, I'm going to start real quick by quoting Mr. Rose Kluver, who is an engagement manager at Decision Incorporated US. He said, and I quote, "Data done well redefines the meaning of opportunity." So to what extent would you say the insurance industry has used data to redefine their business? I'm going to start with Dr. Fadun.
Thank you very much. Data is very important because data speaks volume. In the Nigerian insurance industry, I won't say we are not trying, we are trying, but our efforts is not yet okay. So we need to do more in terms of gathering data and creating database so we can make decisions based on information.
Okay, Mr. Obina, do you agree that they are trying?
Well, you know, I'm a practical person. I would say that let's just go home. Let's just take our closest neighbor, the Ghana insurance market. And you discover that by the middle of each year, you will get the data of the previous insurance performance. Let's say by June 2016, the industry performance for the Ghana market for 2015 is already ready. But in our own case here, you discover that we normally have our published data through the Nigerian Insurance Digest, and the current one is for 2016. Sorry, for 2014. Makes it difficult for somebody to have a kind of a clear picture of the current situation in the market. More so that we normally say that insurance is statistics driven. And in most cases, you discover that premium rates are normally determined by past performance. That's why we normally talk of soft markets, hard markets. Where the claims experience is high the previous year, you discover that the premium automatically goes up. And where the claims experience is not that high, you equally discover that the premiums that will be charged for the current year will go down. But if you have a situation whereby the market, it takes 2 or 3 years for you to get the relevant data, you will now start asking yourself, how do we determine the premium we are charging? Or are we magicians?
I'm going to ask, okay, before we answer, let Mr. Thomas answer that, because they are the ones that go out, you know, to do the business.
Yes,
are you guys magicians?
In our industry, we're not magicians.
Okay.
Let's say that straight. We're talking about data management here. And before you can talk about the management of data, it means that there must be data in place. And when you have this data in place, you must have the collection of the data first. When you collect data, then you have to do what we call sieving. Because not all the data that you have collected are necessary in the process. When you do your sieving, then from after that sieving, you now have to begin to interpret the data that you have collected. However, it's easy to have an institution that should be responsible for the collection and interpretation of this data. But the challenge is, before the institution gets this data, you have the primary institutions. I call them primary institutions because they are the ones who generate this data. The insurance institutions, that is the insurance underwriters, both the primary underwriters, that is the insurance companies, they have the reinsurance companies, then you have the brokers. They must generate this data, and the data must be sent within a reasonable time.
Do we have that in the market? Because it's part of what Mr. Obina was saying. Do we have what the scenario Mr. Thomas has
Yes,
painted?
we do. Normally, if you look at the NICOM Act, the law says that the companies should, before, I think, June.
No, 30th of June.
30th of June, send their annual accounts through which the National Insurance Commission should now extract the data and publish in the annual report and statistics. And incidentally, you discover that in our market, I don't think that that's for the past 5 years or thereabout, I don't think that statistical function has been led by that body. Then another body that has been publishing data is the Nigerian Insurance Association through the Nigerian Insurance Digest, which I said the most current one
is for the one of 2014.
And you remember in the past also that the Nigerian Rail Insurance Corporation equally publishes the Nigerian insurance data, which they call Nigerian Insurance Yearbook that collect data.
Do they still publish?
I think for that one, more than 15 years now. Yes, more than 15 years. Yes, we've not had such publications. So, what it boils down is that will I say that in the recent time you discover that it's difficult for you to carry out research research about the Nigerian insurance market because the data They are not there, and when they are there, they are already obsolete. That's just the truth. And they equally create another problem, because you hear people talking of rate cutting, and you begin to wonder, where you don't have data, because it's through the data that you can now determine the performance of the class of insurance. And based on that, that you can now come out with the rates that you can say that this rate is equitable. Then where you don't have data, then how can you now say that somebody is cutting rates?
Okay, maybe Mr. Fadun should answer that. Where you don't have data, how do you now determine that someone is cutting rates? Like we hear all the time.
Sometimes you might be able to determine if somebody is cutting rate. But with data, it will make it much easier for you to be able to charge equitable premium. Now, in terms of rating, for example, rating mainly requires the data for the primary business that is being placed. The other data collected might be used to be able to try to improve on the rating. For example, if you are insuring a building, for example, the feature of the building will tell you the kind of rate you want to charge. But if you have data, for example, that shows the last 10 years, building used for similar purposes, more claims will appear on that. You might be able to try to increase the premium to be able to make premium for the higher likelihood of loss based on the past data for that. But primarily, an item being insured, the factor or feature of that item mainly determines the premium that you are going to charge. Now, the issue of rate cutting comes in where, for example, if company A has been approved by an insured, and the company actually carry out underwriting on that risk, and company now say, well, based on my underwriting, you are going to pay, say, 100 naira, for example. Now, in terms of rate cutting, company might say, well, come and approach you as well. This how much you asked to pay. You see, you now say, don't worry, I will take from you 70 naira, give me the business. You see, in this case, the company B never underwrite the business and never assess the business. It was just based its judgment on the amount. So it means the company is just interested in the premium from the business. So it means that if a loss occurs, for example, there won't be adequate fund to take care of their loss because you have not charged equitable premium in the first place. So that is a simple example of rate cutting. Now, if we have data in place, data will further improve this situation in the sense that you could look at what happened to similar billing for that purpose in the past years and then be able to increase your premium. So, in essence, what we are saying is that if there's no data, it's going to impact on the insurance industry because the premium that should have been collected, part of it will be lost because you are not doing adequate underwriting. And in the process of trying to cut rate, you are also telling the public that yes, you don't know what you are doing. Because, for example, if I'm insured and somebody asks me to pay 10 naira, and I presume the person has carried out assessment, and somebody now ask me come and pay 7 naira. So I will ask all these people, they don't know what they are doing. So, but I know in insurance industry in Nigeria, we do know what we are doing, but we need to improve on our performance. Thank you.
Okay, now, okay.
I want to discuss on the issue of rating.
Yes.
We said they are cutting rate. The first thing, what is rating? Rating is purely the proportion. I haven't taken into consideration the risks that have been introduced to the pool. You now charge a proportion of the fee, a proportion of the total risk as your rate. And before you can charge this, there are what we call underwriting factors.
How many of you guys do underwriting factors?
Oh, we still do underwriting. I'm going somewhere.
Okay, let me allow you
these
to go to
underwriting factors. Then when you now do your underwriting factors, you look at the dynamics. You now arrive at the rate. But I'll give you a scenario, and that's where my brothers here are going into. You have those in the Lekki environment. You have those at Abule Egba environment. At Abule Egba, the land is a very tabled land. If you're going to sink borehole, you need to go to about 160 something feet before you can sink the borehole. In Lekki, by the time you do 14, 15 feet. But then, how do you now charge the man in Abule Egba the same rate with the man you are insuring in Lekki? And we know that Lekki is prone to flood damage. We need all this information. And
Yes,
this must
Mr.
be-
Thomas, that's the reason why we're here. All this information, are they readily available as data in the insurance industry? How robust is it?
Yeah, they are not readily available. I must be very frank with you. For them to be readily available, I mentioned institutions. You see, there must be institutions that should be saddled with that responsibility. That every insurance company or anybody who is involved in the insurance process, the lecturers are equally involved in the insurance process, and they carry out research. And the result of their research must be forwarded to this institution.
Is that how it should work? Is it free?
No, see, I think I should come in here.
Yeah.
If one should follow Mr. Thomas' lines of thought, which I want to agree with, I think it's high time we have a central institution, maybe just for research purpose. Because in the past, you discover that most of the big companies in the market, they had their research department.
Yes.
Currently, I don't know how many of them, if you count your fingers, that have that. Then in the past also, you discover that most of the trade associations, they had research departments. I don't know how effective. So, based on the current reality, I think that we should be working towards having a central research institution, whereby all these factors that we have been mentioning, that of data collection, that of carrying out research that will be of benefit to all the arms of the industry can be conducted.
All right, welcome back. Moving on, we now bring you highlights of the LCCI 2016 Presidential Policy Dialogue session at the Eco Hotel and Suites. As expected, it was a roll call of who is who in the business community.
The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, was established for the promotion and protection of trade and industry, and to represent and express the opinions of the business community on matters affecting trade and industry in the city of Lagos, the Lagos Port Complex, Lagos State, and where applicable in the whole Federation. In line with this mandate, the LCCI recently put together its 2016 Presidential Policy Dialogue session at the Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island. Special guest of honor and keynote speaker was the Vice President, His Excellency Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, GCON, while chairman of the occasion was the President of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, GCON. Welcoming guests to the dialogue session, the President of the LCCI, Dr. Mrs. Nike Akonde, stated that the ease of doing business in Nigeria remains a major challenge.
Investment climate issues and cost of doing business are very critical issues that need to be tackled, as the ease of doing business remains a major challenge. The key cost drivers are the high energy costs, depreciating exchange rate, high cost of funds, high transportation costs, high transaction costs of import, high import import duty, among others. There is a limit to which of these costs can be passed on to the consumers, especially in the context of weak and declining purchasing power.
The LCCI, since its incorporation in 1950 as a non-profit making organization, has remained the voice of the organized private sector. In his brief remarks, the chairman of the occasion, Alhaji Dangote, stated that the Nigerian economy will bounce back from recession.
Policy gaps will be identified and also strategies articulated for the closing of these gaps. We are always very, very confident, and I think the drop of price of oil, Your Excellency, should not really bother us. We should look into the diversification of the economy, and I can assure you this economy is very resilient, it's very large, and I'm sure we'll be able to bounce back. It is a good lesson for us, and I think we have started learning those lessons, and we will get to the promised land.
Other speakers were Dr. Usmane Dore, Country Director, Africa Development Bank; Honorable Babangida Ibrahim, Chairman, House Committee on Finance; Engineer Saidu Mohammed, Executive Director, Gas and Power, NNPC; Senator Udoma Udo Udoma, Honorable Minister of Budgets and National Planning, and a host of others. Delivering the keynote address, the special guest of honor, Professor Oshibanjo, stated that the present administration is committed to working with the private sector in line with best practices.
We think that it's absolutely important that in order to deliver on our ease of doing business, that the states collaborate with us effectively, and we've received firm commitments from the states that they will work with us closely to ensure that we're able to deliver on our promises on ease of doing business. The present administration is a strong believer in public-private sector dialogue. We've scheduled periodic meetings with the private sector to ensure quality feedback, to make the policy process inclusive. We will institutionalize a quarterly business briefing as a means of permanent this policy dialogue starting next quarter.
Given the high-level deliberations, the business community had questions for the Vice President. Many believe that despite the current recession, the Nigerian economy will bounce back because it is resilient, full of incredibly innovative and dynamic entrepreneurs, vibrant markets, tremendous resource endowments, with an uncontested reputation for hard work.
Your accuracy, insurance, fire protect, insurance, safety on wheels, insurance, all-round guarantor.
Insurance protects your business. Take advantage of cargo, hull, liability, freight, and other marine insurance policies for the maritime sector. Are you an owner of private or commercial vehicles? It is compulsory that you take the minimum insurance to protect other road users and their properties. Fire insurance policy is compulsory for all owners of schools, hospitals, hotels, malls, and other public buildings. The Insurance Act of 2003 mandates you to take fire insurance policies. Be on the right side of the law. Protect your businesses and assets. Visit any insurance broker or company today to get the right policy for you and your business.
Safety on wheels, insurance, all-round guarantor.
This message is from the Nigerian Insurance Association, NIA.
Alright, that's our show this week. Here's hoping you enjoyed every bit of it. Join us again next week for a fresh package. In the meantime, do feel free to contact us on 01-7763-981 or 080 335-7879 or 090-9685-2685. Or you can send us an email on almond4xx@yahoo.com or almondproduction@gmail.com. Do visit our website, almondreports.com. Like us on our Facebook page, Almond Finance and Wealth Reports, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Almond Reports TV, to view past episodes of this program. As always, I urge you to join us every Wednesday by 9:45 a.m. live on Niger FM 102.7 for our Pidgin English program, Waiting Insurance They Do Serve. We're also available on WhatsApp on 080-335-7879, and you can follow us on Twitter at Madam Insurance. This program also airs on BCOS television every Thursday by 6 p.m. for those in Ibadan and environs. Until we come your way next time, my name is Jennifer Obidiebubi. Many thanks for watching and goodbye.